I am sorry. I know I said I wasn't going to really be making any videos in the near future. But as I've told y'all before, just because you are children of Abraham, that doesn't give you immunity to do stupidity. I hope the emphasis on ham at the end enlightens you all to what I'm about to talk about, or is foreshadowing about what I'm about to talk about. Dave Chappelle, my guy, you said in your own interview, right? He became aware, right? He became aware. Dave Chappelle said in his own interview recently that you know something? Maybe the people that was laughing funny about my race jokes that I didn't like back at Comedy Central was the same people laughing about these trans jokes I made. How the person that's supposed to be part of the most oppressed group can then punch down and multiple times him say, I'm sick of that, I'm sick of that. What does that mean? What does that mean, punching down? But if they were saying that some random person in power was punching down, it'd be cool. You would understand it completely. And be able to, like a neurosurgeon, understand racism. Why am I doing this? Dave Chappelle tricked me. All them years ago, I went to Africa. I went crazy. I didn't like how they was laughing at the Chappelle show. But he opened my eyes to something when I saw him recently talk. He wanted the rights to the Chappelle show. He knows the power of his show. He knows the power of royalties and what you can truly be offered. So now that he owns however much of portion of what he created, after a long legal battle, and for some reason he won all of a sudden when it was also racist. Dave Chappelle did what a lot of people, a lot of African Americans and different people do. They use the community to get famous. Then when they hit what's called a ceiling, what they do is they then Hancock. You ever seen that movie Hancock with Will Smith, the comedian slapper? All right, all these men are pro-black, pro clowns. A lot of these people are opening my eyes the older I get. They shoot through the roof by switching to another community and doing things another way. Dave Chappelle knew who was laughing at his jokes. This is why I don't like Candace Owens. This is why I don't like the Hodge twins. When certain people joke and do certain things about certain things, you then open the door for other people to come in and then use those people as proxy as to why they can do it now. What am I saying? Dave Chappelle, using black people, got rich and famous. The Chappelle Show. Then after Dave Chappelle got rich and famous, he used racism like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. Oh, is it too soon? Fuck out my face. He used racism like those two men, and then with that fiery movement was able to slither in and make a deal. The Hodge twins, another couple of people I want to talk about. Asking if they can live at that all-white town. Constantly talking about black people, gay people, and trans people, and women. How did they get famous? Right. Dave Chappelle just infuriated me with his last few interviews. Dude's a sellout. And what makes it even worse, the people who he's catering to, he claims he hated slavery. He knows all about racism, and he's just got a Maya Angelou mindset. But the dude wouldn't perform for the Saudis and the royal family. I need to put. You guys might be like, oh, he talks about Europeans and cocaine. Y'all have no idea who I am. I actually had a couple of people help me awaken over time, and I was making all kind of content until I began to see more clearly, without the blinders on, through a lot of the stuff that had me chained and bound. A lot of people that hear me talk won't like what I'm saying because it's breaking the chains on their narratives that give them power. Dave Chappelle used y'all and is now catering to the very people he claims he hates. Y'all hear me talking about Christians a lot. Y'all know how I feel about Muslims and Islam. Saudis, they still enslaving people, bro. They're still slave masters and doing mass executions. A lot of people have been making good points about Dave Chappelle, but Dave Chappelle made the best point against himself and what a lot of people in humanity do. And don't feel bad. I was a huge Dave Chappelle fan. Loved his old work. But things change over time, and I can begin to become more aware and understand my surroundings. Why you shouldn't harm the trans community or the gay community. Now, you people always talking about grooming and programming. Nah. The Hebrew Israelites, I've talked about them before. I have my reasons why I don't fuck with that shit. But I'll tell you one thing. The problem with a lot of times is when things become unrighteous is, yeah, I have a problem with them. But then as I begin to venture and go online, I see what they face at certain points in time. And I see how they could, I see how they can have a debate with a Christian, Catholic, Muslim, whatever, Protestants, those people are, and destroy them in the debate. And when they're making logical sound arguments, people will go, oh, those black Hebrew Israelites are stupid, blah, blah, blah. We don't believe in them. The Christians are destroying them for no good reason. Christians getting slaughtered in the debates. Not making no sense. Keep telling y'all the same thing I told Farrakhan. Yeah, Farrakhan told the truth, but stop calling white people white devils and stop saying they dope, bro. You making a grave mistake. And I've told people over and over and over, whatever you create in your kingdom, whatever seeds you plant, are what is going to manifest in your time of peace. Because that's what you taught in the time of war. You know what Marines' biggest problems are when they come home from war? How do you turn that off? What you gonna do now that you a civilian? I hear y'all talking about white people finna be slaves now. What's wrong with y'all, man? Y'all are hurt. I'm gonna give y'all this philosophy about me. I know what a person is about from their first sentence, as soon as they talk to me. I already know what they're gonna do. I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but I know what people are about. And so a lot of times when I see people doing these long debates, long messages, they look so presentable on these media platforms and on TV, newscasters, presidents, politicians. They look so presented and this and that. Some of them don't look very smart and they still very powerful for some reason, but it's all an act. I want to know the real you. And so I give out my spirit. And when I give out my spirit, who am I can see everything. You probably confused why I said who am I, right? I am the one who sees. I thought it not blasphemy to liken myself to God, but humble myself to a servant. What does it profit if I gain the whole world and prosper the whole time? Because I'm still going to the same place that everybody else is going to. Yeah, man has a lot of possessions in his world and can take none of them with him. So, there's a lot of wisdom everywhere. Stop saying morality comes from the Bible. I couldn't finish reading the Bible this time in my age because continually Jehoshaphat sacrificed his daughter. This person sacrificed that. The Benjaminites killed this many people. So the Judahite. Do y'all want to know something? My stepdaughter asked me something earlier and I responded. Do you know God did not give people law in that book at all, at many different places? Gave Adam, he created a bunch of stuff. God created a bunch of stuff. Adam was given a law, and then Moses was given a law. Noah was told how to make an ark. Noah wasn't given law from God. We can argue about it. then there are many different things that mean many different things at many different times. Because if that book is literal, then it's a big contradiction. And even me giving a metaphor at this moment, I could be talking about that very same thing in 2 weeks and be talking about something totally different. Yea, the letter kills, but the letter is instruction. But what am I being instructed to do? The spirit is blind buffoonery. Everything needs training. Everything needs taught. And yet nothing does. And if I'm unaware, unconscious, and uncivilized, all men are justified. And I had to swallow that shit early. It don't matter what nobody do. Everybody's justified. And outside of justice, nothing can be done. Do you not see what the animals do out there when they follow their instincts? But if I am living with a form of humility, because if I am spirit, then God, it doesn't exist. It's a philosophy or an idea. And that's why God needs vessels to exemplify behavior to help other people become more things that don't exist. But from my perspective, based on how I feel pain, for some reason, I do not like causing pain unless I am transgressed. But then as I begin to elevate, I ask myself, is their transgression worth that pain? If I transgress, do I think ultimate pain or ultimate mercy? This is pure confusion because every man has their own ideology. It it becomes perfection and godliness when we can find common ground. Everything I just said is my opinion. All things are subjective. What do Dave Chappelle, Captain Tazaria, and the Hodge twins have in common? They're human beings. Everything I am saying is from my perspective. And so no matter how I feel, all three of those men, yea, four of those men, the twins, are justified. I have to learn to eat vegetables and meats, or else I could be malnourished. And so as I become an adult, calm down. It is what it is. I am who I am. I'll allow it. Because if I don't, what will I do? I'm not teaching you all to be submissive. I have not once said submission in anything I've said. I am saying that those men do what they do. Anybody's going to do what they do. But I also thought it not blasphemy to exalt myself to the Creator and say also to myself, I won't create shit, sit in this bed, go to work, and live my fucking life. Do you know why? With all I know and all the power I possess, this dumbass, he skits. Because no matter what I create, I cannot take it with me. Yea, even if I create a tower of good, it may get conquered, and the wrong archer might start headshotting people. Who am I? What do I need to create? How many of the prophets regretted everything they said? And if they were alive today, the actual whatever, how many of them would regret what they see? And so the ultimate truth is then I am justified. Who will tell me what I'm doing is wrong? Only God could judge me. Only God. Do, do, do. Only who I am can judge me. Only who I am can hear conviction or ignore conviction. Only who I am can do anything. And when who I am is ready to stop playing games, who I am can see clearly. A man who never does anything wrong, what the fuck ever. What does that mean to me? But a man who gets enraged, controls himself, and can see the damage that he can do is my brother. Because that very man has the awareness to stop himself. Because those pure men who live for 50 years, if they crash the fuck out for some reason at any moment, who's going to stop them? Do they possess the awareness to? Yeah, a man who's perfect needs nothing from me. But a man who needs help is going to call my name. And I am there with you. Because I am you. Cling not to me, cling to the Father. Because men who do not understand who I am liken me to things. Not all men that do this are confused, and yea, some are brilliant. But what does your wisdom profits 3 generations later, when swimming through the river are nothing but gators? I don't need to teach you anything physically, literally, or anything that you don't already know. I need to exemplify and give ideas and metaphors of situations for people to hear me later and keep me within, so when I am viewing from the perspective of the mounts, I can give clarity, and he that can hear me, I can counsel to and remind thee from a living perspective that mercy and forgiveness are very powerful. Aspects that if the Creator had initialized from the beginning, many things would not have happened. Because if I am, and others are watching me, and I slay all of civilization, what will be produced from those very men I sought to teach in the first place? Who I sought to protect in the first place? Who I called the most righteous on earth in the first place? Tell me how many times in laws, tell me how many times a law was created or something had kicked off without God not saying not one word in that book, and still having mercy on them people. But the Hebrew Israelite, Captain Kazarian, says something very intelligent. People like to say God doesn't hate and doesn't have wrath. But I'll argue like he did. God anger multiplied by anything a man can do. God slays and teach lessons in that book multiplied anything a man can do. So stop saying all the time God doesn't love hate. I am have hate. I am he that created Jesus and Satan. Let that be with you. And understand, even when that is said, at every point, was Satan not asking for the power? Did God say, I think you can eat, did? Shouldn't you curse Job? Could I please have permission to? What will you allow? Not all that demon I'm possessed. Ooh, no. When I type a sentence into Google, many things pop up. But what do I choose? Two things I hate. Three for sure. A rapist, a murderer, and a liar. Squared to be aware. Somebody that blatantly lies in my fucking face when I know the truth. People that create false doctrines to enslave and encage people. And people that say you can sin continually over and over and over. You have many. Show me a video where I told y'all what a sin is, outside of a spiritual metaphor of something greater involving murder or slavery or something crazy, or harming other people. I don't need to tell y'all what's right and wrong. It is written, don't seek knowledge of right and wrong, because there are better things to do with your life. And you're playing with something that's not real. It's good to have philosophy and understand things. But what I'm telling y'all is, this is evil, that's evil, this is the fantasy, God can do this, can you do that, can. We're wasting time. And so, the Hodge twins I hate. But I don't inherently hate them. I hate the things they do. That Hebrew Israelite says something else. People say, God hates the sin, not the sinner. No. He raised people up to destroy them, did he not? Pharaoh? And y'all should do some real logic in history. What a Pharaoh is, where they come from, who is Pharaoh. Not that half-baked bullshit. And I implore y'all to stop typing in the words Nephilim, angels, and all these other words into Google. When I say this, I'm saying that because those words exist. Every word is a key to a memory of something that we've learned. We all learn at very different pace, and we all have a different idea for everything. If I say a chair, if I say a dog, you will have a different image than me of a chair, how chairs are presented, how they look, how a dog is, what it is, your experience of dogs, what kind of dog I'm talking about. And so when we use certain words like Nephilim, angels, gods, devils, I don't know what that shit means to y'all. And I don't know if that shit's going to edify you or cause you to have psychosis and end up in a psych home. And so I try to be as clear as possible to let people know when I'm talking to you all about certain things, I'm not talking nothing magical, but characters of hearts, personalities, ideas, psychology. I'm going to say something. I am. I exist. When I tell you that, when I say I am, you guys, when you write it on paper and do all this stuff, that's not what I'm talking about. Those are letters on a page. Those letters on a page mean something. It means at the highest level, I exist. I am. With that existence, I can do. I don't just verily exist. I am aware that I exist and I do. And so, of all the parts that I am, they make up a greater being that has a greater connection to be conceptually aware of the being's surroundings and everything else around me. To as much as I need to survive because I don't see air particles. Words are our first mode of verbal communication, yeah. Because that is verbal communication, words. So the word is right there next to who I am. Without words, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now with you. So I exist, but now my words are actions. When people say God hates the sin, not the sinner, that doesn't make sense. Because a sin is an action. You probably, murder somebody or steal from somebody or cause some form of harm that you know is malicious to somebody else that wouldn't want done to me. And so then with that knowledge, I go commit an act. I'm not talking about, oh, I smell a great drink. I did this and that, and I'm bleeding. Oh, Lord. That's not what I'm talking about. Actual harm. And so, saying that the person that chose to commit the action and do the action, so God hates adultery. This is what the Hebrew Israelites bring up too. That dude's a good teacher, and he breaks down scriptures pretty well to bring people back down from the heavens, if you catch my drift. But and he explains a lot of words and he gives another great way to teach. I have aught with him calling all white people the devil, but I don't, because I understand the perspective of where that man's coming from based on the brutality and the even current propaganda and systems built in place against people of art class fucking colors. See my anger? But also, I know not all people are like this. And so then my awareness helps me sift through the information, and I understand why he's upset, but there are certain things I don't have to accept about what he says. Making me my own individual and not a clone of him. So, yeah, it doesn't make sense for God to only hate sin that doesn't even exist. There would be no adultery without the person actioning it out, adverbing it out, verbing it out. A lot of people play with the word law a lot. The law don't exist, the law do exist. The law. Stop saying the law and start saying maybe it's not good to murder people. I told you I respect the 10 Commandments, and I've read the 42 Laws of Mu'at. It's kind of goat, dude. It's like really sweet and efficient. Do I follow everything on that shit to the T? Fuck the gods. Those malicious molesters, those M&Ms. But what I'm saying is, not all gods are bad, right? I'm going to have to do that all day. And so verily I say, this is why I don't come after people a lot of times, but try to give my character on camera. And so then when you live in your everyday life, perhaps something I did might influence you with something, hopefully for the better, to where you avoid a situation where you was going to crash the fuck out. Because in America, there's a lot of mental institutions, prisons, and churches. They exist for a reason. And police forces. Should all things be healed, those things will go away, and a lot of people will lose their little magic tree paper. And so certain things have to be perpetuated. I promise you. For no fucking reason. So me as a person, I can get out of the way and observe from a distance and gain wisdom that way. Or I can be right in the fucking middle, be like Myron Gaines, put on a fucking Klan hood and dance on YouTube. Monkey see, monkey do. Because I guarantee you, if Myron was affected by the Klan or had to deal with the Klan, it wouldn't be. Remember how I said in another video, which I don't like to teach, pain causes empathy sometimes. But also, pain creates Hitlers too. And so, this is why I don't teach pain is healing or teaching. I simply give examples of situations and allow the user to make their own choices. You guys like to say, America, freedom of speech. You're not free from consequence. Some people like karma, some people don't like the idea of karma. But whether you like it or not, you understand the emphasis that if I eat an entire jug of ice cream, my tummy might hurt. Some people call that physical science and biology, some people call it fucking karma. But you understand the difference. Do I say gluttony is a sin or lust or anything? Captain Kazari made a good point with that. Lust is not a sin. If you don't lust after your wife, what's the point of her? What I'm saying is, that was a very disrespect. Do you understand what I'm saying? But lust can cause a lot of terrible things to happen. It's up to me to choose. A lot of things can be avoided, like Don't look at a woman. Pluck your eye out and put it in. Are you gonna take a chisel and pull your eye out and put it in a campfire, dude? That's some saw shit. No, but a better example, if you don't rev yourself up like a motorcycle, oh, she's fine. Oh, she's fine. Oh, look at that pussy. What are you doing? And then when you get there, oh, she tempted me. No, you chose to go down that path. Unless you're a fucking bot. Admit you're a bot, and I'll say sorry. And then you're going to lose all your rights, and we're going to give you morality. But if you have free will, like I think you do, then it's time to take accountability and change my behavior within the dark places so that Satan can't go to and fro. When I say Satan can't go to and fro, who I am in my form of godliness can't ramble into destruction if I am there being aware and paying attention. I make a mistake and think something or this and that. Oh, sin. No, it's a journey. I am learning. The paranoia and fear is going to destroy people, and the anxiety. Those feelings are here for a reason to keep us alive when dealing with certain aspects of survival. But a lot of people are taking their keys, opening a door called what the fuck, and allowing every fucking demon in the darkness that they're creating the demons in the dark. And then when the demons come out, they're like, oh, the devil. Who I am needs to take control. Perhaps I get enraged, but if I become aware to it and realize that this helped last time, did it help the time before that? Did it help? Do you see any of these criminals after they've been in jail for 30, 40 years converting to Islam, Christianity, saying it wasn't worth it? Everything in that book, from my perspective, came from Roman Catholics and the Pope. So to get on the camera, Captain Genius, and argue with Catholics about what they do in that book is really silly. You guys don't have no Torahs from before 1000 AD and no written scripts of any of that shit. This is logic and truth. The Codex Sinaiticus from the Catholic. Once I found out that the Dead Sea Scrolls was the Codex Sinaiticus, it was it for me. I can believe in many different things and fantasies, and when I say believe in them, I mean use them to cope however I will. But I'm not playing with that shit no more. Everything, those people are dead and their stories are dead and what they were really doing is gone. The people that hated them and enslaved them afterwards, the Romans to the Roman Catholics, ain't they the people that murdered them and took their temple, then gave us the lore about what happened to them? That's like if white supremacists killed all black people and then wrote a religious story thousands of years later, right? What are we doing? Even the Torah, the Old Testament, is the Codex Sinaiticus. That's why the Torah, the Bible, and the Quran are all the same fucking book. And even within those sects, now go into each of those religions and how many different sects are in those same religions of those three variations. Because every man and woman have hearts of our own. And we need, if we were allowed to be more free with how we express ourselves. I'm not talking about once it gets dark and, oh, I want to be dark and say this dirty thing. I'm talking about even from childhood. Yes, children should be restricted from doing certain things and protected and watched. But a lot of times we go straight to punishments and beatings and violence as a humanity. And we need to be more aware and more loving and forgiving. When I say forgiving, I'm not talking about, oh, I can do 17 murders. Oh, they should be able to forgive me. Or, oh, that person raped 15 women. We should have to forgive them. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I mean everyday shit, like when students make mistakes. Go in the hallway. You're bad. Da-da-da-da-da. Or when children are at home and parents are brutalizing them. Won't even answer questions or be patient with them. How we learn about slave masters and all this racism. Then get home. Little nigga, get on the couch. Whip, whip, whip. Does that make sense to y'all? That's called Stockholm Syndrome. And when we don't hit the brakes. When we tap the brakes, slow down at a safe speed, and just simply turn around And on the other lane, this is what history watching is doing. And we don't know what exactly happened in history. It's all written by bullshit. And just begin to observe what we do have. And pay attention to the different nations and the different, and instead of fighting, saying the Egyptians, the Kemet, the Middle Eastern, and just bring it together and study it, and with an open heart, see why they're similar and see how it connects. It come together. But we're in a generation and time where a lot of people want fairy tales to be real to cope and help them get through every day. And I'm not attacking people for that. I have a lot of comic book characters who I base a lot of things I do on, and cartoons and stuff. You might think I'm mad for that. He's crazy. We supposing he's drunk. I'm not drunk. But what I will tell you is, if we start to purify, man, I'll give you an example. Let's say all this still existed and we had Jesus, and Christians were super cool, man, and people were, and there's cool Christians. Don't, I'm basically saying, if it was different and it was producing something cool and good and peaceful, I wouldn't be doing this. But it doesn't. And like a warrior, true warrior, I go after the true enemy. The teachings. What is me going after a human gonna do when there's billions of more humans? It's the teachings. It's the things that we wrote in stone. Moses was made a god. Jesus was made a god. The prophets was made gods. What makes them that? What's the Father's name? We call it the Father. I am. Many people will hear me say that and perhaps won't understand and think I'm calling myself God right now. I can only do as much as possible. There are chains that have been placed on family lines and on people that cause paranoia and psychosis. I can never, really truly, the way you want me to, and the way you want me to die and come back, prove to you that this stuff isn't real. But those who are willing to listen to me are no longer under my old angry judgment, but will be given everlasting, eternal peace and life within my life. If I live for a whole amount of time and then die, and there's nothing after death, then that was eternal life. That was my life. But I'm not going to tell you all what certain things mean, because then I kill your spirits in ways that I can't even comprehend. I even oftentimes think about me floating on clouds, smoking a blunt with some bearded people and some young people and loved ones and women. Shannon. You know what I mean? And so we all have it. We need it. It helps. In the spirit, many things happen that I don't know about, but my voice can go deep and cut asunder and help guide through the viciousness and the visceral of the things that maybe are too hard for me sometimes. Ooh, I just spoke in first and second person at the same time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what I just did. Some of this stuff is considered meat, and so I would like to slow down and end this for today. But essentially, I'm not here to teach you all objective things. I am here to give a new spirit of peace and calmness, while teaching that I still have rage, anger, pain, hurts, and fury. But who I am balances that, because I'm not always either. And so, why would I always be mad? I keep that balance to the best of my ability. Let me keep saying that. I am not perfect in you all's eyes, but I am perfect for me, because I am the type that I am trying. And that's all it takes sometimes, is for somebody to try. Because you're not going to get over that pole vault the first time. But after years of practice, you will one day soar. And to the Hebrew Israelites, the last thing I'm going to say. Captain Cesare, I watched you for a long time in many debates. But then you was going against that cringe Christian guy. And you said, I hate the Egyptians. I'm glad the Lord killed them. And then he said, well, Moses, here's the book of the dead. And Moses got the Ten Commandments from the laws of Mu'at, and you sat there with a bold face after everything, all the intelligent things and how you researched to learn things. You said, no, he didn't. Who is Amos? You lied that quick. He was fighting the Hyksos, actually, and he was an Egyptian man, or Kemet, whatever they were called. See how through law and religion it got switched that fast from actual history? And who he should be actually... I can't tell the man who to side with. But the Kemet was being attacked by the Hyksos. They created a nation mixed together, and that's when the Egyptians came around Greece. That was their name for them. But then they mixed, and they became Arabs. Africans and Asiatic people. You're not going to find all white Arabs in an all white Arab nation. They're going to be mixed like multi-grain Cheerios.